Welcome back. Facing a food desert, Oklahoma City, among several U.S. cities, looking to get fresh food on the table. A new measure would require dollar stores and convenience shops to dedicate at least 500 square feet to fresh meat and produce. The last grocery store recently closed for good in Oklahoma City's poorest neighborhood. Joining us right now is Tulsa City Councilor Vanessa Hall-Harper. And Vanessa, it's good to have you this morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
First, characterize the situation. Most people don't realize how hard it is for certain areas of this country to actually get fresh produce.
Absolutely, absolutely. And they're called food deserts. And so that is a growing problem and a growing trend throughout the country, particularly in Black, brown, and poor communities.
And why is that? I mean, I know that Tulsa recently passed a similar zoning law about blocking discount stores in close proximity to others. You championed this law for over a year. So how have you seen improvements in your district? And why is it that the people are so far from any store to have fresh produce and meat?
Well, actually, we will be breaking ground on a new grocery store. So these were efforts that I was working on simultaneously to work on getting a food operator to come in, as well as limiting the proliferation of these discount dollar stores. And I just want to go on record saying I am not against dollar stores. I am only against their proliferation, because when they are able or allowed to proliferate, then they cause food deserts. And so never said that we don't want any, but they should not be allowed to proliferate. I have over 10, I think last count of 11 in my district alone. And so I don't think that's by accident. Again, I believe that they target Black, brown, and poor communities, and the result of that is food deserts.
Vanessa, how you doing? This is Jack Brewer. Hats off to your work.
Thank you.
You know, you're making some great points, and I think, you know, being a Black man growing up in the South, you know, I also had the same issues. My family didn't even eat fresh food, fresh produce growing up. How do we educate people? And I applaud your efforts, but I think the education piece is so important. A lot of families, even if you give them fresh food, wouldn't eat it, and some of them don't understand the health benefits of that. And so from a societal perspective, how do we break that code?
Absolutely. And so that's where education is a huge piece, but we can't even begin to educate until we give people access. You can't talk about something, well, this is what you need to eat, if you never even see that in your neighborhood. And so first of all, we have to address the access issue, and then secondly, the educational issue. So you work with your local school districts, you work with your local health departments and so forth to raise that awareness of what healthy foods are. We have several initiatives in our community where schools are taking some of their property and they're farming. So they're teaching children how to farm, how to harvest that food. And then, you know, they're so excited that, hey, I planted this, I watched this grow, and so I've harvested it, and now I can take it home. And they're going to be more apt to eat it because there's ownership there. They participated in the process of bringing that food to their tables. And so, again, education, yes, you're absolutely right, is huge, and you do that through community partnerships, but you have to address the policy side of it. To stop the proliferation of these stores. As I said, I'm not against those dollar stores, but when there's a problem, when this proliferation causes a problem, in this case food deserts, not only do we as elected officials have the authority to do it, we have a responsibility. And that's how I saw this effort. I was trying to make a change for my community to improve quality of life.
Vanessa, it's Dagan McDowell. We're showing a graphic that about there are some dollar stores in nationwide locations that are making changes. In your communications with the dollar stores in your area, what have they told you about the possibility, again, of working with the community to make sure that there is fresh fruit and vegetables there?
I have not had personal communications with them. When I first brought this to them, before we started protesting, before I went down the pathway of limiting through policy, I reached out to particularly Dollar General, and I just was not met with a very welcoming possibility of communication. So we protested. We literally got out in front of the store. There was one store in particular that we were trying to stop that building, and we protested. And so as a result of those protests, they did bring some healthy options into that store, but not the other 6 stores that are in my community. So I took that as that sign as we just want you all off of our sidewalks. We want you to get away from our store physically protesting. And so now I think because more and more cities throughout this country, and I've even had people contact me outside of the country, now that we are doing that, now they're, I think, are saying, oh, well, we need to probably do something about this. But initially, when I first made those attempts to address this issue bureaucratically and diplomatically, the door was shut in my face.
Well, Vanessa, you're making a difference. Thanks very much for joining us to tell us about it.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon. Vanessa Hall-Harper there.